This is Road to the Golden Door, where we unpack the proven success formula straight from the minds of Golden Door winners, uncovering the motivation, methods, and the mindset it takes to become an elite performer in door-to-door sales and in life. This is Road to the Golden Door. Now, here's your host, Mikey Lucas.
What's up? It's Mikey Lucas, Road to the Golden Door. I got a special guest, two-time Golden Door Award winner, 6 years, going on 7 in pest control. He has a 40-man team running with like 1,000 Golden Door Award winners at the Grit Marketing. Anybody that comes from the Grit is pretty much a baller. And I know that a lot of guys kind of throw shade on the Grit or they used to throw, like, just like they used to throw shade on Solar City back in the day. But you know, it's funny because, you know, the Grit continues to produce Golden Door Award winners. And I think they're over 40 Golden Door winners and the year's not even over yet. So we'll see how that works. But Alec Withers is here on the show today. So Alec, what up, bro? Welcome.
What's up? Stoked to be here.
Yeah, man. Glad to have you back. We had a show earlier, I think last year. Was an interesting time, and I'm excited to see kind of what's changed. So you just came off your Golden Door year again this year, and you didn't hit Golden Door last year. So I want to kind of dive into that to see really why. You know, what happened? You hit Golden Door in 21, didn't hit it in 22, but now you hit it in 23. What changed? You know, where you're at? 'Cause, I mean, dude, like me interviewing. You know, I'm going to have a whole dang year just to, I was thinking about this yesterday, actually. I was like, dude, I think I'm going to just do like a group podcast with all of your guys' Golden Door guys. Like, no, I'm just kidding. I was thinking about that, doing that with a couple of the top guys, but
sure.
I was thinking about that yesterday because I interviewed Zach Seeger yesterday, and I was like, man, you guys hit what, like 40 something so far, Golden Door guys? I'm like, bro, I had text John. And I was like, bro, you guys are like baller.
Yeah.
Baller.
Yeah. So just kind of like what changed. I think the first year, like, so I sold a different company, awesome experience. I've really worked with the same people for the whole time I've been here, worked with John Taylor a lot. He was my manager in 2018. I switching to the Grit. I felt like there was this, as you've seen, this culture and environment of like, cool, like everyone produces, like you got to compete, you got to be a top guy, and the standard's a lot higher. And for me, I just graduated from BYU accounting, and I was like, I like sales. I'm good at sales. I want to do sales, and the flexibility, everything. I was like, okay, this makes sense. And if I'm going to do it, if this is going to be sustainable, it's like I need to be adding value. I need to be recruiting, helping my guys. And I was like, okay, in order for me to recruit, I need to be someone people want to work with. And there's a lot of, I think for all the guys that, you know, like you that have crushed it, and guys that have whatever the industry, whether sales or whatever, there's a big why. There's a big, like, I want this because, and I care because. So I had this feel of like, hey, for me to survive and to do this, as opposed to working at Deloitte and Touche, I got to kill it. So went out, I remember started it in Kentucky, knocking in some snow and rain and long distance for my wife. It was like, okay, this is sick, but I want it. I'm going to crush it. So had a big summer, hit Golden Door, and that really opened the metaphorical door to like recruiting opportunities. Cause now it's like, hey, I'm someone credible. It's like, I'm not just saying, hey dude, you could be good at sales. I'm like, no, like I've done it. I'm good at sales. I can help you. So that year, we grew a lot more in recruiting. And I think that I went into that next summer with some maybe conscious, maybe subconscious complacency of like, I've kind of made it. I'm like the guy, you know, I think all top performers maybe have some ego. And I still sold well. I sold like 450K-ish, which is like a good summer, not crazy. And I think the feeling was internally like, you know what, like I've done well. Like I'm credible enough to recruit and add value, and I'm elite, and I don't need to do that anymore. And I came back from that summer. I'd sold less time that year, but I think just overall there was less intensity. And I came back and I was like, dude, like, that's not me. Like, I've never been that, whether it's in basketball, whether that's my grades in school, whether that's in college, whether that's the way I approach dating or my relationship. It's like, I'm not a like not a complacent guy. And it's like, okay, like this year, my goal was 1 million, didn't hit 1 million, but it was like, dude, I want to just be the best me possible. And like, I've done it before, I can do it again. So I feel like this year the fire was back more, and my motivation was I want to help my reps produce. I want to have the respect to my people, and I just want to be the best me I can. So then got it done this year.
Love that. Love that. Yeah, a lot to unpack there. Before we get into that, I want to, for everyone that doesn't know who Alec Withers is, who is Alec Withers?
Yeah, I'm a husband. Got married 4 years ago. Ashley, she's awesome. She's a nurse. She's my retirement plan. Let her take over. But I love competing. I've gotten into golf the last few years. We're still amateur hour golf, but I love golf. I love basketball. I played in high school. But I think of myself, I just like competing. I want to be the best I can. I want to be a friend. I think of myself as loyal and a giver, that, whatever, I want to be the person that it's like, I have no financial benefit from you, but I'm going to help you because I care and because it matters to me to be that kind of person. So abundance, the goal, and that'd be, I guess, a few of the attributes that I'd want to be defined as.
Love that, dude. Have you read the book Give and Take?
I haven't. Go Giver.
Go Giver is great. Read the book Give and Take.
Cool.
Yeah,
I'll do
recommend it. Did you like Go Giver?
Loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a phenomenal book. There's got like a bunch of them now. Go Giver Leader, Go Giver, like Real Estate Agent. There's a bunch of them now. Yeah. I love that. Some of the things that I do when I'm doing these interviews, I try to pull out, just because I mean, success leaves clues, right? So I'm trying to find out, really just for my own purpose, like how do I become more like my guests, right? How do I become more like my friends? How do I become more like the people that I want to look up to, like yourself? For you to be able to go and hit a golden door twice now is nothing. It's not easy. Like, it's not easy to do that. Most people go, oh yeah, it's, pest control, it's easy. Like, okay, then go and do it. Like, sure. It is not a easy feat. And I always tell people on the show, like, because there's obviously, I mean, a lot of people follow me because I did solar for 9.5 years and alarms for a summer. So I've got a big solar following, but I always tell people, I'm like, dude, if pest controls guys didn't work 4 months and they worked like 6 months or 12 months, they would triple what solar guys make.
Sure.
But the fact that you guys get to work for maybe 5 months, sometimes even 3.5 months, and make the money that you guys make is just phenomenal. Plus it's a great product. I think I could definitely sell. That's the one product I did not sell, which was pest control. Ever. Like literally never one, not even one account. I should just to say I did it, but I did not sell.
What are you doing next summer?
Let's go. Shoot, maybe I come out and have put a little road show together. And it's funny, dude. There was a couple guys that I was telling that have hit it in pest and then in solar and then in like roofing. I was like, dude, you guys should make a show. Like, go and get a golden door in all the industries just to show people that it's possible. It's definitely possible, because it's kind of like reoccurring. If you're, if you can do it in one, you can do it in the other ones, but or if you can do it once, you can do it again, and the same thing, so on and so forth. But let me, might take you up on that. I would like to figure out, that might be something interesting. We should talk about that off mic. I do, because I want to get in the head of you guys. Like, how in the hell is there 40 something Golden Door Award winners? Like, my goal was to coach 25, and I thought that would beat you guys. And I'm not even close. You guys like doubled where I'm at. I wanted to be at.
Nuts.
So one of the things that I know about you, Alec, and a lot of the guys that talk about you is your ability to be a leader. Can you explain a little bit about where that came from, why they talk so highly about you? Because, like, I mean, I'm talking like so many guys, not even just at the grit, just like even guys on the internet talk about you. And I don't think there's ever one bad thing that I've ever heard about you. So why don't we talk just briefly about your leadership experience? Why are you the way that you are? What, like, I can tell, like, let me go back to when I interview people, I try to get their attributes. Like, I'm trying to find out, like, what's the commonalities, or like, for whatever reason in my life, I try to find trends, and I've just,
Yeah.
whether stats or whatever, I've always like, okay, this light turns green at whatever. Like, I'm like weird with statistics and stats like that. I just see stats a lot in life. And one of the things that I see in a lot of Golden Door guys is they're loyal. And they're great leaders, but their story behind why they became a great leader is always interesting. And I do get that asked a lot. Like, whenever I get interviewed, they're like, you got this show that you have interview, you interview the top guys in all door to door. I'm like, yeah, they're just normal guys like me and you, just,
Yeah.
did it. So, but they also ask for the attributes. So it's like something that people ask me a lot about. And I don't know what I'm doing it because I want to learn and I want to know, but eventually I'm assuming I don't know, maybe write articles or a book about it or something like that. But it's an interesting thing. I see a lot of similarities and attributes that are there with a lot of guys. So, and then I'll get into your accounting degree because I want to talk to you about that too. Tell me about your leadership. Like, let's go back to that. Like, tell me about your leadership. Where did you learn how to become a leader? Why? I mean, I can tell, like, with your abundance mindset and being competitive, also being a giver. Tell me some good, bad, ugly. Why are people talking so highly about Alec?
Yeah, oh, that's super kind. Like there's a lot of factors, I think, for me of why, like, I want to be a leader. Growing up, I had a great home, great parents. I've always feel like I've had like a kind heart, um, maybe on the sensitive side. They're like, I care about people. I love my siblings, I love my parents, and I've always just had a lot of value in serving and doing good, whether it's with my friends, the community. It's like you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have people around you, it doesn't really matter. And so I think that just like I've just always loved people and thought of myself as like a people person. I'm social and outgoing. Sometimes I may be more extroverted, sometimes more introverted, depending on the setting. But like I went on a mission for my church for a couple of years. I was in London and had leadership roles there. I had leadership roles in like scouting. I played as a captain of the basketball team. I feel like a lot of it's just stemmed from like I get value out of helping people, and like I'm confident that I can add value to people and that I'm able to do that. And so it's like I know if I can, I should, and I want to. And then from like the sales side, I started out in 2018 with John Taylor, and John has been one of the best leaders of my life. And I think you see great leaders and you surround yourself with great leaders, and it's like there's something about like I want to be like John. Like he works so hard, he inspires me. It's like I want to be able to do that same thing. It's like I don't know if I ever could. At that point, I was planning on one and done. Like I'm going to do this and then go on and do my accounting degree, make enough money so I don't have to work while I'm in school. Then, sure enough, did 1 year. I was like, oh, the sales thing's actually pretty legit. Maybe you can do it again, and then again and again. And then here we are.
6
But I
years
think
later.
then 6 years later, yeah, I'm in this for the long haul. Like then, just being surrounded by more leaders like Ben Egan, with the abundance mentality. One thing he told me is like the value of sharing things, because within some companies, it's very like our regional versus your regional. Like if you're not in my region, I don't like you. And like Dallas Jr. and I, my business partner, we just hit regional this year. And the grit has always had a culture of it's like it's not region versus region. It's like, yeah, we're competitive, like we're super competitive. But it's like what Ben taught me is it's like if you have value to add or like secrets, share your secrets, because now you've leveled the playing field and you have to level up and you can't be comfortable with where you are. And in addition to, it's just a good thing to do to share anyways and help other people be better. But it's like, if I'm a leader leads by example. I add value to people with zero expectation of return. and the outcome is going to be we all get better, because now it's like I don't have secret sauce unless I find and figure something out and make it up, and then I find some other secret sauce that adds value to me and my program, and I help other people, and now it's like cool. Like if I want to keep being better and help my people be better, then it's like I got to be pedal to the metal, and I can't sit there complacent, like hiding all my secret ingredients to like success.
Wow. All right, guys. That's the show. That's all you need to hear. Go out and sell some deals.
That's right.
Alec,
Let's get it. Be great.
A lot to unpack there. If I had 3 hours with you, could we probably unpack the whole thing, but we don't.
Sure.
Let me go back to this, or let me start here. I guess why do you think certain people hold back giving their knowledge?
Yeah, I think it's fear of like, I'm afraid if I share that they're going to take it and they're going to be better than me. And if I share, I lose my competitive edge. If I share, they know what I know, and then I'm not actually valuable anymore, because it's like the magician that shares a secret. If you know the magician's trick, it's not a trick. Oh, that's how he does it, you know? And yeah, just, it's this feeling of I give it to you, I no longer have it, and now I'm empty. Where it really ideally should be, it's like I share and you and I both have more together, because now it's like, now we're on the same spot, and maybe you have value to add to me, maybe not. But either way, now we're both going to take that, and maybe you can make it better, maybe not. But either way, you know, it's like you don't want to be the magician who's afraid to share a secret.
Okay. I like that. I agree with you on the fear thing. In my experience, what I've seen is that when I encounter somebody like that, Alec, I am more afraid of even being around that person, meaning like, get me away from this person.
Yeah.
Because what I have seen and what I've experienced is that person will do whatever it takes to make sure that I do not grow. And
yeah,
like, why would you limit if you have like the next Alec Withers or, you know, Mike Trout, like why would you limit that person from, you know, getting in the batter's box, or like what I get it. I understand, because like this is where like the American dream, I talk about this in my book, but like this is where like the American dream went wrong. It's like we became like this isolated person, and that if you do not perform, you are not valuable. Your wife will leave you, your company will get, you know, bought out, and whatever, you get kicked out of your company, you know, the Steve Jobs situation, right? Like even Elon Musk they've tried to do that to him a few times. I don't know, dude. I don't. I'm gonna go back to the Kobe Bryant quote that used to be above my old desk. It's like, lazy people, I don't understand you. I don't want to understand you. So self-seeking, self-centered, limited mindset people, I don't understand you. I don't want to understand you, because it is very clear, like, Alec, and I'm not just trying to like toot your horn, like how people talk about you. I'm just like, dude, like if I would have had that, and don't get me wrong, I had some really great leaders in my door-to-door career, to a point where I became, you know, I would say a great leader in door-to-door as well. You know, an influencer in the door-to-door space. But if I would have had somebody like you when I was 20, 21, 22, and you're 27 now, bro, like, you give me 3-4 years, I'm going to be significantly better than you. But a guy like me actually appreciates what you did for me. And I don't get me wrong, like I still actually text on a yearly basis almost every one of my managers. I was texting one of my old managers at Solcius, Cody Schill, like 2 days ago, just to check in with them. And just because like, dude, like I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for these guys. And you have now just like virtually 40 guys working with you. And I can guarantee you, like, if you're following John Taylor and these guys are following Alec Withers, like you're going to create like an army of just badass dudes and chicks probably too. So, I don't know, man.
Kayleen Johnson. I don't know if you know that name. She switched from a small company in Texas, sold 350K, sold with me this summer in Chicago. She did 700K. She set the all-time female record.
Really?
Speaking of gals, shout out Kayleen.
Let's go.
Kayleen Johnson. Gritty gal.
Oh, yeah. Let's go. I'll have to have her on the show. Start a DM group chat for me, and I'll have her on for you.
Yep.
So what is it that I mean, is that how you were raised, Alec, that you just were taught to, add value? Like, where did that come from? Because again, this is so important for the listeners to understand this. I think one of the issues why door-to-door has had a level of it have a bad rap is because, and I was talking about this yesterday with Zach, that, we call them jumpers in solar, that they go from company to company to company and they don't stick around. It's like, cool. Like, I understand sometimes, like, you guys left GreenX and like, I understand that, like, they basically we're going to screw you over and not, like, it just wasn't going to work out. It's the same thing. Like I was telling you earlier, the same thing that happened at Tesla. Like, we were already getting paid like dirt for pay, and then they're going to drop it again. And, and then they wanted to sell a product to the homeowner that was not good for the homeowner. It was not worth us moving forward with Tesla long term. Why do you think you have that mindset, that abundant mindset? Like, where is that coming from? Is it from leadership like John Taylor? Is it, why? And then maybe do you struggle with, because I think every good leader that has which is why I recommended that book, Give and Take. I think every good leader has that like moment or moments throughout their day, month, week, career, whatever that looks like, however often it happens. For me, it happens all the time. Where you don't feel appreciated, you feel walked on, you feel, betrayed and stuff like that. And I'm sure you've been betrayed and talked bad about. Like, I haven't heard any bad news, but like, I'm sure people talk crap on you. Like, oh, Alec didn't do this and he said this and whatever.
Yeah.
But how do you avoid, I guess you could say, getting into that limited mindset, and how often is that actually happening for you, to you rather?
Well, so how did I kind of develop leadership, and then how do I avoid the limited mindset?
Yeah.
I feel like it's a choice. Like, I think sometimes we look at leaders and think, oh, they were born with it, or, oh, they had a good leader. And like, I think regardless, for everyone that's listening, it's like, you can totally choose to be a leader around people that aren't leaders. And granted, it's a lot easier to be a good leader when you have good leaders and you have a good environment. Totally. But it's like, at some point, it's like, you have to choose to, like, I'm going to be the guy that I wanted to have. And like GreenX, right? GreenX was phenomenal. And I was there for 3 years, and they had a pivot in their goals, maybe wanted a little bit smaller program at the time or to control growth. And we made a pivot. I look back when I started at GreenX, I had really good influences, really good environment. I wasn't really trained a lot before the summer. I think that was kind of industry wide. Back then there wasn't as big an emphasis, and it's like, I don't blame anyone there. It's just kind of how it was. But I was like, as now I'm recruiting rookies, and it's like, well, like, I sure would have loved to have a manager do maybe some training with me, or to have content, even whether it's videos or recordings or whatever. And so it's like, I could choose to perpetuate the cycle of like, you know what, I had to figure it out, like, you go figure it out. And there is value in some things like that, but it's like, I think I've just decided to choose, like, hey, where were there missing things in my life that would have helped me and added value? Where was there a ton of value added, whether it's from my parents or leaders in my mission or scouting or basketball or like John, Ben, like, and guys I've worked with at the Grit. But I think the biggest thing is just like, dude, like, I want to be the person that I would have loved to work with, because I get value from that. I get utility. I feel happiness and joy more than any paycheck when I get to the end of the summer and I have guys text me, dude, this summer changed my life. Thank you. It's like, that text makes all the, like, Like there were times this summer from stress and pressure, like I literally threw up on the doors and then kept knocking. Literally, just disgusting. My tech rolled by, like, dude, are you okay? I'm like, oh, dude, yeah, I'm fine. He's like, I saw you throw up. Oh yeah, I threw up. We're good though. It's like, and like you go through all that, and like the emotional hardship, right? Like being away from my wife, working so long, all of it is worth it when you see that, like, now there's guys that I've worked with for a while that are investing, that are buying homes, that have made really good income. Guys that are making 40, 50, 60, 70,000, 200, $400,000 for the first time in their lives. And they deserve all the credit. But then, like, when you do get the text of like, oh, dude, thank you, I appreciate you. And even if I didn't, just seeing the impact is worth it. And then the second question of like, how do you, when people talk bad about you or say this or that, how do you not let it affect you? That was the question.
Yep.
One thing my mom taught me,
or what do you do to brush it off or whatever, right?
Cool.
Because it's going to happen no matter what. If you're a giver, as you say you are, which I know you are, you have to. There's got to be a standard operating procedure where you back it off.
Yeah, you get in front of enough people, you're going to get pushback, and no matter how good your podcast is and phenomenal, like I think Mikey Lucas is, and like I've been really impressed with your Instagram content recently, by the way, and I'm interested in all this oil stuff you're doing. That's another conversation, but there's going to be people that are like, oh, this Mikey guy, like he's a fake, he's a fraud or whatever. It's like, they don't know you, but you get in front of enough audience, you're going to have that. One thing that I learned as a kid from my parents, from my mom, was don't worry about how other people talk about you or feel about you or think about you. Worry about how they feel when you're around you. It's like, I can have influence over, like, if I'm in a room with someone, and even maybe I'm in a room doing all what I think are the right things, and they don't like me, that's totally fine. Like, I'm going to be kind, I'm going to smile, and like my self-worth comes from me pushing towards my potential, and my success is my commitment. Like, I'm not a perfect leader. It's like I've definitely fallen short and, like, quote unquote failed guys, and sometimes I think as a leader I can give off a vibe of like, hey, like, I'm locked on my goals, don't text me, don't call me, whatever. And like that's a weakness that, like, I'm continuing to work through to continue to show an empathetic side even within the structure of leadership. But like, it's, like, I'm concerned about how I treat people when I'm with them. I'm not going to worry about what people can think whatever they want. Like, my value comes from, I do what I think is right. And if people have an issue with me, I would love to talk to them about it and accept fault and own it, because I want to get better. And I would want that feedback too. Like, if someone was like, hey, Alec, like sometimes I know I don't mean to come across this way, but like you come across as like, maybe you did a morning meeting and it was a little like unrelatable, and I was having a hard day and I needed maybe some empathy. It's like, oh, dude, yeah, like you're totally right. Thank you for saying that. Like, I'll be better. And I've had some of those conversations and being, I think, open to that as a leader, where I'm not defining myself by other people's opinions, but also open of like, there's, feelings are fact. If someone feels a certain way about me, then it's like, I'm not going to define myself by it, but I'm going to take it and learn from it. And hopefully 5 years from now, people are saying that what maybe was my weakness then is like, oh, dude, Alec always comes across this way. And I love that.
Yeah, dude, that's good. Sorry, I'm over here. I want to like, yeah, that's good. God, this is why I really like you, dude.
Thanks, dude.
It is just a pleasure to hear that you have gone through it, that you take radical ownership or extreme ownership.
Great book.
Yeah, Extreme Ownership is a great book. That level of radical transparency, radical ownership. I can tell that you've gone through it. I mean, to the point where you just said you threw up on doors because of the level of stress, which I want to unpack later on. I can tell that you've gone through situations where, because of how much you care about, people's well-being, you've even probably got to a point where it clearly stressed you out to where you're vomiting up your food, like while you're working.
Yeah.
Tell me, there's something that I have in my notes when I always write things down when I'm doing these interviews, is that I always try to write down quotes you live by. And something you said there, I've got like 3 so far, probably 4 on one on the other side here, but 3 so far. One of them, you said your mom said something about you, about don't focus on, and I think the listeners need to hear this again, is don't focus on, basically like it was something like along the lines of like, don't focus on what they do or what people do, focus on how you make them feel. Can you explain that a little bit more to me and break that down a little bit?
Yeah. Like, don't worry about how people feel about you. Be focused on how they feel when they're around you.
There it is.
And it's like, John says this all the time too. It's like, if you're not nice, I don't care what you are. Or it doesn't cost anything to smile or to be friendly or to take a second and be genuine. Like, hey, how are you? Like, how's your day? Tell me about that. Oh, like that. I'm sure that would be tough. Like, to be present and to like give people, it's like almost giving like therapy to people. Like, we all need therapy. I started going to therapy. Highly recommend it. And like, if at the end of the day I'm with someone and I'm kind and I'm friendly and I always try to be like available to people, whether that's emotionally or helping them with sales or whatever. It's like, if I'm a giver and I'm open to give, and someone comes and after that they're like, for whatever reason, they don't like me or they don't want to be around me, that's totally fine. Next time I see you, I'm going to keep giving. I'm going to keep being friendly. Not because I'm trying to win you over, but it's like, I'm just trying, like, I want to be the person that's like a safe person for other people. That's also like going to add value to you, whether or not there's anything in return. And if that makes me tons of friends, great. And if not, that's totally fine too. But that's like just how I want to live my life.
That's another really good book called Safe People. If you haven't read it, I'd also recommend that. You and I are a lot alike. And I think that's why I've actually thought about you a lot in the last year, not only because your name comes up a lot, but
sure,
there was just something when we first had jammed. But I was like, dude, this Alec kid is, there's something about you that I was like, dude, like if there's anybody that I would want to see win, it would be Alec. And I think that's because you're so much of a giver. There's just, I don't know. It's like, for instance, like some of the guys that used to work for me or like old coaching clients, whatever, or dudes that are, in like the programs or whatnot, like you just want them to win so bad. And you were one of those guys where I was like, dude, I gotta make sure Alec wins. And I don't know how that war was going to work out or whatever, but at the very least promoting you and just liking yourself on Instagram, staying in contact. I think, that's, no matter what that looks like is the guys that have your character traits and your attributes and your vision of life is, something. I mean, personally, I would want to do vacation with you and your wife. Cause I'm like, we would probably get along. And you know what I mean? Like I've always, always been a huge advocate of like, show me your 5 best friends. I'll show you where you'd be at in 5 years. And I'm very careful about that because I know that when I was a drug addict, it was because I was hanging around 4 other drug addicts. When I was a party animal is because I was hanging out with 4 other freaking party animals, so now that you're at the grid and you're one of 40-ish Golden Door Award winners, we'll see what the final number is towards the end of the year, but you are what you hang around with. So
thanks, man.
I'm just excited to see you. I'm excited to see that. So let me go back to this. So I appreciate you sharing that. The quote from your mom that really stood out to me. That was like, because it's hard, bro. Like it's hard as a giver. There's a line, right? And I'm not a really big line guy. Like one of the core values of my company is don't think outside the box. There is no box.
Yeah.
But there's a line like here when it comes to, I would say, leadership or personal development that you don't want to get close to people pleasing. Because when it comes to if you're going to people please, you end up becoming not no good, but you don't reach your fullest potential. And that doesn't necessarily mean like, money or attributes or whatever, but like when you only people please, you don't take certain risks. You don't go and do certain things. And I think a lot of guys get stuck they get in a rut, they hit a ceiling, whatever that looks like. And they wonder why, whether that's if we interview or talk to on the streets, 40, 50, 60-year-old dudes that were in sales and that see us like, oh, door-to-door sales. Like, you're like, yeah, you're a 7-year veteran. I was a 10-year veteran. Like, wow, like, holy crap. It's like, but they're in their 50s and 60s now. And you're like, what happened to you kind of thing. And I think a lot of times what portions of that is because guys like us who are major givers tend to focus more on how people, I suppose, pleasing people. So, yeah. What are your thoughts around that?
Yeah, I think it's boundaries is an interesting word. I think it's being okay to say no, and to have like understandings of like my own personal limits where it's like if there's some, because obviously too, as far as like sharing, right? There's IP, there's intellectual property, and like there's trade resources, and there's things it's like, hey, like, give me all of like how you recruit and this and that, whatever. And it's like sometimes some things like that don't obviously make sense to share, and I'm not obligated to share that because someone says, oh, you're a giver, tell me like everything, or hey, you make a lot of money, give me $5,000, like you're a giver. So it's just having, and it's judgment calls within the situation, but being able to say no and be okay with that, and just being like real to self of like, if I'm like, hey, like, I don't feel comfortable with that, and owning that, and like being authentic of it. It's like, I'm not here to beat around the bush and be like, oh, like maybe like, it's like, thank you for asking. I'm not comfortable doing that because of like this, and just being like real, and like where it's like, I'll give, but also if I don't feel comfortable or something doesn't make sense, then it's like, I'm just going to like own it, and not perfect in that. But there's another book, Audacity to Be You, Brad Reedy, and trying to be true to myself and what I'm actually thinking and feeling, while still like, the goal isn't to people please. The goal isn't to get everyone to like me. The goal is to like give love and give value to others, because if we can all be better, then that's a win. And then, yeah, just as judgment calls of, it's okay to say no, and you can still be a giver and decline when someone requests something of you.
I was reading an article. Here's a story really quick. I was reading an article last week, Oprah Winfrey. Nice. She was being interviewed, and she said something along the lines, and I'll just paraphrase it, but something along the lines of when she started to become successful, people would ask her for $500. And then it moved to 5,000. And then she basically broke it. And she was like, now nobody needs anything less than 50,000. And you're just like, and Oprah's, the girl, you get a car and you get a car and you get a car. She's a giver, right? So it's just interesting. It's interesting to see that, that you said boundaries. And I think a lot of times guys do end up getting taken, because it's in the name of like, you got to add value. But, then I don't want to say get burnt out, but they get, they don't have any more, they don't have anything in their cup to give, because they've given it all, and they're not like, it's almost like the whole, like when you're on an airplane, that's why they tell you to put the oxygen mask on yourself first and not your kid or your wife or whatever. Right. Because if you don't have something coming in, you cannot give. I think that's a great misunderstanding, which is a cool nugget here for anybody listening that is a giver or is a leader, that you need to make sure you're focusing on, or you're harnessing energy to be, or ideas or new information, whether that's sales, leadership, finances, whatever, spiritual, relational, stuff like that, to be able to give. If you don't, you'll eventually burn out, and then you realize after a certain point, you like, because you have so much, if you've given a little bit, then people start to realize like, oh, I need to call Alec. He's going to give me, information, or he'll take my phone calls. And I tell that to guys that run companies or managers all the time. I'm like, bro, this is called operation by your time back. You can't be answering every one of your guys' calls all day long. If they need to know how to send a contract or whatever, create a Loom video on your cell phone, on your iPad, or whatever thing you guys use, send them the link, tell them you're about to walk into an appointment, and say, if this doesn't answer your question, then call me back. I don't care if you're walking into an appointment or not. You can't create a a needy person. You need to learn how to create self-sustainable top sales professionals.
One thought too on that, Mikey, too. I think because you look at money, for example. Someone might ask me for money, which I don't really have people asking for money. One of my reps had this. It was the first year, crushed it, made tons of money, and like family asking for money. I think like if someone asks you for money, and there's situations where maybe it does make sense to give a loan or to give, where it's like, there's people in my family, there's a loss that we donated money, and it's like that to me made sense. That situation, it's like there's a serious loss in your family. Like I want to give and help. But if someone's like, hey, like, dude, like I know you do well in summer sales, can I have like $500? I think one of the best ways I can give to that person is setting boundaries and helping them be self-sufficient, as opposed to like, hey, here's the answer to all your problems. I'm the Mr. Fix-It-All. Or with a rep, right? Like, I'm a big believer too, like you're saying, in chain of command, having your time, where like sometimes reps might ask me directly something, and my response is like, oh, have you asked so-and-so, their direct manager? And it's like, I know that might come across as being like a D-bag, and it's like, I don't intend for that at all. But the thing is, their manager needs to know it, because that's part of growing and being a manager. And also, it's like there should be a relationship between those two guys. And if that manager doesn't know, he should ask his manager. And if he doesn't know, then it's like, cool. Then ask me. Then I can let you know, because you should know it anyways, and everyone else should. So the best thing I can do, it's almost like a tough love of, it's like, hey, like, Dad, I want to be, when I have kids, like, hey, Dad, I want to be in shape. Is there like a pill I could take? It's like, yeah, it's called going to the gym for an hour every day and putting the work in. Or rep constantly calling you. Sometimes it's setting an expectation. Hey, dude, between this hour and this hour, I'm knocking. Like, this is what the expectation I set with my reps. Like, I'm on the doors. If you have an urgent question, like, text me. Don't call me, because I'm probably talking to someone. As soon as I finish the door, I'll get right back to you. But most questions, like if it's a sales question, write it down and ask me the next day, because I want you to learn, when I have a question, I figure it out. And then you start looking at giving that way, as like, oh, giving doesn't just mean, oh, I give you what you want. It means I give you maybe what's going to help you grow the most. And it's like, I don't know what's best for every person. Only probably that person sometimes knows what's best for them. But like, sometimes not giving is in a roundabout way given. Oh, like, I'm not going to give you money because like I worked really hard for it, and I also want you to work hard for it too. And I don't want you to be dependent on me. And being that raw with people sometimes, if they're asking for money, or hey, I need help with this thing. It's like, I'd love to help you. Have you asked so-and-so? Or have you looked at this resource? Or, oh, I sent this message in the group chat. Did you see that? Then you start training people to be self-sufficient self-starters, which that's like the best gift anyone could ever like receive,
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack there too. I learned that from Tony Robbins years ago. And that's how I got that whole like, Mikey's goal is to create self-sustainable Golden Door award-winning sales reps. Like that was, if you're not, when I had my company, like that's like the main thing, right? If you're not a self-sustainable Golden Door award-winning sales rep, like that doesn't necessarily mean now I put my neck out when I do that. Cause now if I teach you how to be a self-sufficient Golden Door award-winning sales rep, you usually think, what's the next step, Alec?
Yeah.
You can go and start your own company and you can leave me. It's like, no, that is true. And that did happen to me many times. But
sure.
I think that's going back to what we were originally talking about like why people fear, fear being abundant is because people are going to leave them and they don't have control and no one's going to respect them. It's like, bro, first of all, if you're not having reps leave you, you don't have enough reps.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
But yeah, that's man, so much meat and potatoes there, bro. That was good. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to this again because I am impressed
juicy dialogue
by your I'm impressed by your expertise in this, man.
Awesome.
Can I pivot really quick, or did you have something more to talk about that?
Sure. No.
Okay.
Pivot.
I wanted to go deeper, but I know that I want to go back to the other couple of questions that I have because that was really good. Cool. That tends to happen in the podcast. It's like, hey, okay, that was good. Like, but I've got like 6 other questions I want to ask that when you're talking, I'm like, hey, I want to know about that. So maybe we'll try to do rapid fire because I know you got to get moving here in a second. Anyway. So, what are some of the 2 or 3 either moments? I know you've already said one quote, but quotes or moments that stand out most with John Taylor?
Yeah, John hitting 1,000 in 2018. I don't know why it makes me emotional thinking about it. He, I remember being back. So I didn't know anyone going out that summer. Like I got recruited by someone that was in my mission with me, and that her husband was an acquaintance, and he was an awesome guy at Baxter. And so I got connected through him, and then so grateful that they reached out and I had the opportunity. But I really went out not really knowing anyone. My roommate came out with me, which is chill. But like then John's like, whoa, like this is like a guy that like he's like John is going places, you know, like he works so hard. Like he's always the first on the door and the last one off. A lot of people say that, and it's like metaphorically, but like no, that John is that. And you know, he's locked. He's like laser focused. The moment I'm thinking of was after that summer. So John was impressive all summer. You know, he's selling 6, 7, 8 accounts every day. His worst day was 4. It's like this guy's on something. Sucks. And like I remember being at like the welcome home barbecue end of that year. So I had a great rookie summer. Much of that credited to like the training environment I was in. And then like it's like a cold day, and I remember, I don't know if I was on the phone with John or just knowing that like John was out knocking still, where I'm back in Utah chilling, and he's just like gunning to be the first in the company that done 1,000, one of the few in the industry that had done 1,000 accounts to that point. And it's like, wow, dude, like I worked hard all summer. I worked really hard, and I stayed, and John even helped me stay later to like hit a goal when maybe I would have gone home. And as I do, like I'm here chilling in Utah, and like he's in the trenches. It's like that's everything like I want to be. So I think that was one of the moments where I'm like, man, that's like special. And I feel like John's always been so good to me and my wife Ashley and his wife Emily, and they have 2 beautiful kids now. It's like I've had just so many interactions, whether it's like I have a big day in the summer and I see John Taylor on my phone. It says his picture of him and Emily popping up. And I know that he's calling for no other reason than to say, dude, great day. How are you? And sometimes when leaders call, it's like, oh, they want something. Like it's, oh, they want to follow up on something, or, oh, I effed this up or whatever. Like 90% of the time with John, when I get a call, it's like, dude, what's up? How are you? I care about you. You're crushing it. Like, I believe in you. And like, that's the, you know, 1 minute manager or whatever, where it's like John's always been really, really good about that. And then maybe a third moment, like I feel like there's been like I remember like specific like times where John's taken me to lunch and had conversations with me about how like proud he is of me and how much I've grown and how excited he is for me as a future and his vision of my role within the company. And those, because it's like I respect and love him like so much. Sorry, when there's someone that you care about and you value, you know, them, and they give you that feedback of like, dude, like you're doing well and I care about you, that's super meaningful. So those I'd say were some of the moments with John that have been really impactful.
I figured that's what it would be. John is a leader worth following.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's that guy. He's him.
Definitely. All right. Walk me back to last year. You didn't hit Golden Door. You hit a Golden Door the year before. Didn't hit it last year, and now you hit it this year.
Yeah.
What changed? You didn't hit Golden Door yet, so walk me back to last year where you didn't hit it. You still, I mean, you're like 75%, 80% there. But what changed from the year before? And I noticed that you talked about like complacency kills and stuff like that. So walk me through that. Like, what was the culture like? Was it like, hey, let's go recruit a bunch of guys? Were you trying to like, you know, get off the doors and spend more time doing recruiting? Because that happens a lot in solar. It's like guys, you know, go have a crazy, or roofing, like guys have a great summer, a great year, and then they, you know, they die basically. They're dead. Like I think I just created a reel on that. It's not out yet, I don't think, but I said, you want to know the number one, and I say the number one, sorry guys, for all everyone's listening to the number one thing a lot, but I do that in my life in general. You know what the number one thing you need to know right now is? Yeah. The most important thing you want to know about right now. I do that a lot in my life. I talk like that. I'm like, hey, the number one thing I'm learning about right now is because
Yeah,
number one to
same.
me right now. But the number one thing that I think kills a sales professional is a great summer last year or a great year the previous year, and I see that
Yeah,
consistently, Alec. And you know what happened to you? So
yeah,
walk me through it. Talk me through that, like, the dichotomy, the difference between, and now that you've hit it, and then you can transition into hitting it this year. So walk me through
yeah.
that.
I think because like for all the the Boston dogs out there with me, Zach, Diesel, Kobe, Gabe, Zeke, and Brandon, Stefan, Dallas. Like I think about all the guys that were there. It's like they all know. Like I grinded, and it's like I'm working the hours. I show up day in day out, and it wasn't like I'm gonna do some like recruiting calls. It's like because that's always been my identity, and it's like I'm not gonna ask you to do something that like I'm not willing to like do. I think the difference was like I maybe hid behind because Zach Kinzel, so he had sold at a marketing company, started his own company, switched to the grit. His best summer was like 220K or something, and then that summer he golden doored first year of the grit, just sick. And then this year did $1 million, so not
Let's
bad.
go. Let's go.
Just sick. If you haven't done a call with Zach, I'm sure he'd love to too.
I have. I was like, I mean, I literally have in my notes on the top of the notes, this
Yeah,
kid's an animal.
he's I love Zach. We unfortunately weren't able to make their Halloween party last night, rip. But anyways, I think I hid behind a little bit of like, oh, like my role has shifted, whereas like my role is to help other guys, which it totally is. But it was like, okay, I'm here to help Zach hit Golden Door. First year grit, I want him to hit Golden Door. He really wanted that really bad. I'm like, I want to facilitate that, whether that's in putting him in the right situation or technicians or helping build him up, give him platform to lead. Like that was like a really big goal. And then helping those rookies that I mentioned, like I want to help them crush it and facilitate that. And I think I put mental energy towards that in a way that it internally relieved the like need to produce. Where I was still often, like me and Zach were often the top reps on the day. And it's like for a lot of the summer, it's like I was producing and like Zach and I were like neck and neck. And it's like, cool, like I'm still leading from the front and leading by example and still help guys do really well. But I think I internally told myself, it's okay if you don't golden door. Which like life's more than a sales number, but like I hid behind that. Like, oh, it's okay if you don't because you're having this value, this value, this value. So then I think like you kind of get to the point where you're at the halfway point, you're at like 50, 60%. And then you start evaluating, like, am I really going to do this? Like it's an uphill battle. Like I know I'm going to be scrapping the rest of the summer. You're knocking behind other companies. It's like we're going to be getting gritty if I do this, or I can still work really hard and be okay with less. There's something about like you're either knocking, you're at 4 or 5 accounts and it's 6 o'clock. There's an internal switch of like I'm knocking to knock or knocking to sell, and the intensity and the fire goes where it's like maybe if it was the summer before fire, a 5-day would have been an 8-day, and maybe if it was the summer before, maybe like a 7-day would have been like a 14-day. And I think it was just out of that internal like it's okay if you don't. Your role is different. I'm still going to grind. I'm still going to work, lead from the front, but I'm not going to actually expect or hold myself to that standard. I'm still really proud of that summer and of how I worked and had influence and helped guys. But I look back and if I would have changed something, it's then what I went into this summer. If it's like, no, like I really want to golden door. I really care about that. And like, I can have just as much influence, if not more, on my guys by like expecting the best out of myself. And that's really the best way as a leader to get the best out of your people is it's like I expect to get the best out of myself to push past where I maybe like pushed before too.
Interesting. Now, did you tell yourself it's okay to not hit a golden door towards the beginning or towards the middle?
It's probably more towards the middle where it was like evaluating, right? Like, hey, if I'm going to hit it, that means I'm probably going to have to knock through like September. And I think there's a multitude of things. Like I want to get back and recruit. I also want to go back and hang out with my wife and travel and relax and like enjoy a change of pace after going hard for a summer. And so I think I just kind of like decided of like, yeah, like I'm kind of far off. I don't think I'm willing to stay out another month and a half, 2 months, and I want to go back. And Ashley was going back to school, and I was like, yeah, like I don't really want to do long distance, and I'm okay with $450,000 in revenue. Like that's fine. And like I don't really live with regret, because it's like in the moment those decisions made sense. But if I could go back and change things, it would be approaching it with the like, I'm a dog. I want to be the guy again. And like, I actually really care about doing Golden Door as opposed to like, yeah, I already like made it.
So now tell me, this year at the halfway mark, you hit Golden Door this year. At the halfway mark, were you getting those same, did you kind of feel like it was like, okay, here we go again? Do I really want to go back? Because you said you just finished, was it like just recently you finished your degree?
2020 graduated.
Okay. So that maybe had something to do with it. Like last year the degree, this year it's like, you're like, all right, I'm done with my degree, so I don't technically have to go home and finish school. At what point did you say, no, because I'm assuming you started off the gate running, like, yeah, I'm going to go do it. You said your goal was 1,000, you hit almost 700 in rev,
Yep.
in rev. Like at what point were you like, I'm going to hit a Golden Door?
Yeah, I think just the whole time I was like, I'm going to do it. And I knew that it would be really hard, especially the first part's easy, like easy is not the right word, but April, May, June, there's so much hype and like you're there, everyone wants to be the guy, everyone wants to grind. And it's like, there's like the momentum of like, yeah, oh yeah, we're going to crush it. And, I was selling around 30K. I didn't have any crazy weeks this year. My biggest week this year is 46K, which is like, it's good. It's not like crazy, see you're freaking doing 100K in a week. But like sold like around 30K pretty consistently throughout the whole summer, where it was like, dude, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get it done. And it was like the screw was loose. The mind was set on like, dude, like if I need to stay late, I'm going to stay late and I'm going to get it done. And I think I just carried momentum the whole time, where I lost momentum the year before by entertaining the thought of I'm okay with not. And it's like, you're better off having the mindset of like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then it's like, say you fell short, and say a guy listening to this then goes out and does 300K. And then it's like, you're out there for 5 months and you grinded and you made it happen. You probably did way better than you would have if you hadn't have like actually held yourself to it. So, yeah, I think it was kind of like that halfway point of like, oh, like, yeah, I'm not going to stay out. Where this year it was like, yeah, we're getting it done. And just day in, day out, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out. Boom, we got it done. And then it's like, oh, thank heavens. It felt good to get that done. That's for sure.
What do you think that there was more of a company-wide push? Is that what maybe got you to stay out a little bit longer, or to actually hit the Golden Door? Was it more, because it sounds like when I talked to John Taylor that might have been what he was pushing for really hard. Was it really more culturally that we were going to hit 1,000 Golden Door reps within the grid? Obviously, fibbing the numbers a little bit, but you get the point. Sure. Do you think that it was more there, or because it sounds more like you almost regretted not hitting Golden Door last year and you went out with vengeance this year and said, no, I can do it. I'm not the guy that just did a one and done in the name of recruiting. Like, bro, you can recruit, just spend a little bit extra time. Like, don't while you're on vacation, do a little bit of recruiting. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it sounds like you came back more, a little bit more of a vengeance is what it sounds like.
Yeah. I'd say with this year, like the number on, so the Grits podcast is the landing pad. And like the over under was like 20 for this year, and like
reps,
20 Golden Doors. And it's like, even that number, it was like, oh, like, are we? Because it's like, there's a lot of more senior guys that made a pivot and they were in a more like oversight managerial role, which is needed with the amount of teams they had and the way kind of the business was developing. And so then it's like, you're losing guys that would have produced, Skylar, Parker, like Drew, right? Drew Hansen, also the GOAT. McKay not even doing a full. McKay did like 400K in 2 months, and then was back also working on company things. It was nuts. McKay was also a rookie in John's office. We were roommates. But like, so like, yeah, there's guys that aren't even going to be there, and it's like, can we even do 20? And now I think currently year to date we're at 36. We have 2 rookies that have done it, and we'll have 37. There's another guy out there getting it done. November, so gritty. But like, I think it just, people just rose to the occasion, and you see it done enough. It's like the first year. So like when I had Golden Door a couple years ago, that was the first year of the grit. Like, boom, like we're that, you know, that was the first year the company started, and it's like, we got to show up. Like, that was the narrative. And it's like, cool, 10 Golden Doors. And like, it's like, okay, like we are the alphas, you know. I think the next closest pest company had like 3. And then like, then it was, and my memory may be fuzzy, the numbers were like 14 the next year. It's like, oh yeah, like we're dogs. And I think then it was like, instead of just 10 guys doing it in the top 10, it was like, oh, like there's guys doing it that like, I don't really know their name, or that stepped up. You know, Caleb Grandel, another one of the guys I worked with, hit it that first year. Zach Kinzel hit it that year. And it was like, oh, like this is a thing. It's not just like you're, you know, magic sales guy. Like, these guys just worked hard and they figured it out. And so then I think this year it was a culture like, you know what, like, seen it happen 24 times. These guys, like, they're hard workers and they're confident, but like, I can do it too. And I think the guys in the company just rose to the occasion, stepped up, and it's like, no one asked for us to have 30. No one expected to have 30. It was just like, dude, if we get 18, I feel like, or even 20 or more than the previous year, that's a dub, you know? Then to go and have 37, it was like, wow, like guys just were like, okay, like we're going to get it done. I believe it. I've seen it done. And then they went out and made it happen.
Love that. Love that. Well, in the respect of your time, I want to keep pushing, but I'm going to try to land the plane here.
Sure.
What do you think your biggest, your biggest motivation would be for, I think I know the answer, but for the listeners, what do you think your biggest motivation is, Alec? Or a couple of them?
Yeah. I think there's a few. I feel like, I've been talking to, my business partner and I just started a podcast as well. So we'll see when we get that released, probably in the next week or so. The 1% is what it's called. But we were talking to Caleb and Zach, and Caleb talked about how, so he said he did 800K this year, about 650K the year before. He was like, he finds joy in pushing for his potential. And I find that too. John talks about that too, the gap between his favorite, I think one of his favorite things, your current state, your potential. I'm sorry, John, I'm effing your quote, but I'm on the spot. But it's just like the pursuit of who you are, I think, is universal, that it creates fulfillment. So I love that. I love creating. I love trying to find new ways to be better at recruiting, finding ways to help guys sell better, finding ways. I just did a call with some of our reps this morning on just like, hey, like, here's a few things to keep in mind for taxes and, you know, for investing. I'm not a financial advisor, so, you know, told them not to sue me. But like, finding ways to add value to guys, it's like, and pushing, and where I look at where I'm at now and where I was a rookie year, it's like, wow, like I'm way different. I would have never thought that I'd be in the position I am, having the influence I have, or doing what I do, or knowing what I know, or whatever. And it's like, I want next year, the year after to be the same thing. And then a lot of the drive with that too, I think last time we talked about this too, it's like, I love my guys. I love the gals I work with. I love my wife. I love the grit. I love my leaders, you know, Parker, Skyler, Jackson, Ben, John, Garth. There's so many people that have been really influential. I love my partner, Dallas Jr. And like, there's a guy I was recruiting this year, my neighbor, Joseph Greenwood, and he was going to come out. And then there's another company that's talking to him. And I was like, no, I'm not losing this. And I was like, Joseph, like, at the end of the day, we can talk about numbers, like, and I can talk about the grits numbers, but like, and I don't know the guy that you're meeting with your company. I'm sure he's a great dude, but I know for a fact, it's like, I'll show up for you. It's like, I'll show up every time, and you can bet on me. And having that, like, as something that's important to me, where I'm like, okay, I told Joseph to come out here in the summer. we're here. I'm running the office. Guess what? Time to back it up. And that for me, I think has helped push me personally, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, where it's like, I tell you to come work with me because this is a great option. And like, this is the best option for me. Okay, time to back it up. And I think those things of, I want to reach my potential. I want to push my potential. And like, I'm committed to showing up for people and I'm not going to let people down. Those really like drive me.
Absolutely love that. Alex, it's been a pleasure, brother. Golly, dude, like, yeah, we're gonna have to have you back on again.
Down.
Where can everybody find you at?
Yeah, find me on Instagram. A little bit of a pun of a name, Smart Alec. I think Smart _ Alec 22, or to search Alec Withers. Feel free to follow the Grit. We'll have our podcast up and running the next little bit. The 1%, just talking about meeting with guys that are the top 1% of the industry and things that they've done successful at. And feel free to DM me or reach out to me on any of those.
Love that, dude. Awesome. Any final words for the Golden Door Award winners?
Yeah, I mean, be you. You don't have to be me. You don't have to be Zach Seeger. You don't have to be Mikey. Like, they're all good people to emulate. Take things that, add value to you, but like, be you and be the best you can be. And you'll be a better you than an imitation of anyone else.
Love that. All right, bro. God bless. Looking forward to seeing you in a couple months. And golly, man, this was amazing, dude. Appreciate you, brother. Have a good one, man.
Sir.